Susie Sausagehead.
So, let me tell you about the time Susie Sausagehead was finishing her hair and makeup. She was getting ready to go out on a date with her guy friend. They had been arguing lately, and she was still a little disappointed in his behavior. Susie was planning on having a serious conversation with her guy friend regarding their prospects of their future together and ultimately deciding whether to stay or leave. She wanted to look her best and convey the same attitude during their date. Susie wanted to avoid an acrimonious exchange, instead preferring congeniality and mutual understanding regardless of relationship status. There was no way of telling where her guy friend's mind was, but she couldn't worry about that because it was time to do her eyebrows, and they always gave her issues. She could only ever get sisters, not twins. Susie Sausagehead heard her doorbell chime, and not a moment too soon as she was completing her date night preparations, she simultaneously put on her high heels and approached the door to open it for her guy friend. Upon opening the door, Susie was delighted to see that she was not the only one putting in so much effort to their appearance. Her guy friend was wearing a suit with a bow tie and holding a bouquet of flowers. The flower bouquet was colorful and composed of many different flowers, just the way Susie liked it. She also took a moment to appreciate the cologne her guy friend was wearing and that he'd gotten a fresh haircut. Lastly, Susie took note of his shoes and jewelry. Susie began to wonder if she was being too hasty with her contemplating a breakup and wanting to create space. Clearly, the man cared about her and was intent on showing up the way she required him to in the relationship. Susie Sausagehead graciously accepted the bouquet of flowers, setting them aside to give her guy friend a hug. When she tried to pull away, he held on a moment longer, which further confused her. Her guy friend was not a demonstrative man typically. His coldness, in fact, was one of the reasons Susie had decided to go in a different direction. He then did something else he was not known to do. He asked Susie how her day had been and how her family was doing. Susie paused, giving him a sideways glance before answering in a very bland and vanilla. My day went well. The fam is good. If her guy friend noticed her shocked pause, Susie couldn't tell because he just went right on asking Susie about other aspects of her life, topics and events that he'd previously seemed oblivious and uninterested in. Now he wanted to know all the latest and greatest about Susie's work, friends, personal hobbies, and ambitions/goals that Susie wanted to accomplish. Susie looked at her guy friend, wondering silently if he'd hit his head on the way to her house, because this was not the man that she was ready to cut off. Dinner was nice, and there was more conversation between the two than Susie Sausagehead could remember ever having without discord or an argument. Still, she was not ready to completely buy into this new version of her guy friend and wondered if she was in the middle of one of those love bombs she kept hearing about. Either way, intuitively, it felt like a manipulation play on his part, and Susie wondered how offended she should be. She told herself to check her attitude and tuck in her pessimism and live in the moment for once. With this, she ordered more libations and began the conversation regarding working on their relationship. Susie should have known not to be shocked when her guy friend agreed with every request for improvement she made. He was very eager to take responsibility for his shortcomings and promised to work in earnest on betterment. Then, as if to emphasize his intent to come correct in their relationship moving forward, he gifted Susie with a new chain. It was beautiful and unlike anything she'd ever seen. Dinner eaten, libations drank, promises made, and compromises met. Susie Sausagehead and her guy friend headed out of the restaurant into a nice spot to finish out their evening before or maybe some hugging and kissing in a special way to solidify their renewed commitment. Susie could not stop touching and admiring her newly gifted chain. She kept pulling down the vanity mirror in the car. Her guy friend noticed and stated how pleased he was that Susie was so happy. He also mentioned that the ice on her neck should help to melt her heart. He said that he knew that they were on the brink of separating and that he wanted to show that he understood the assignment and would not drop the ball anymore. Susie's smile matched the twinkles on her neck, and she teased that now she was the ice queen and that he made her the happiest girl in the world. This truly was a night filled with dreams and fairy tales. The music was loud, the DJ had some common sense, the libations were top shelf, and the crowd was grown. It was definitely a vibe, and Susie Sausage Head was in her element. She felt like the belle of the ball with her new chain twinkling and shining on her neck. Her diamonds were dancing in the spotlight for the crowd, and Susie had already spotted some admirers, both male and female. Susie also reveled in the fact that her guy friend was receiving an equal amount of admiring stares. All eyes were on them. Yet Susie couldn't help but feel like they were alone in the dance hall. After vibing out for a while, the couple decided it was time to head out. Susie and her guy friend headed back to his place, getting there faster than she would have expected. Susie knew that her guy friend was as anxious as she was to start hugging and kissing in a special way, but first she needed to freshen up. When they arrived at his house, Susie's friend turned on some music and began to prepare some flour for the two of them to enjoy, while Susie disappeared into the powder room to freshen up. Susie Sausage Head was dancing in the mirror to the music as she undressed, still under the influence of the festive vibe and not ready for it to come to an end. The last thing Susie removed was her brand new chain. She was enjoying the private show with it on, but did not want to wear it in the shower. So alas, the time had come to remove it. As Susie reached behind her head for the thick clasp, she simultaneously began to turn the chain so that the clasp was facing the mirror in front of her. As she did this, Susie noticed two things. First were the small bumps against her fingers. Second was the sensitivity of her skin under the chain upon her fingers making contact with it. Susie winced and moved closer to the sink basin and thus the mirror. She lifted the chain and was appalled by what she saw. Squinting her eyes, Susie first noticed the red, irritated skin that was until recently hidden by her brand new chain. Then she angled her neck toward the overhead vanity lights and saw them. Tiny red bumps, tracing a line on her neck that her chain had occupied. Susie stood staring in disbelief and confusion. But two things were clear. Number one, Susie was no longer under the influence of the libations. Number two, Susie was gifted Fugazi ice from her guy friend. Breakup back on. The